This being the first video in my favorite series, I feel I should try and clarify what this series is about. It basically is stated on my banner. Know your purpose by knowing yourself. The series is one way towards knowing ourselves. Getting to know what our interests and preferences are can help us get to know ourselves better. And what funner way than by finding out what our favorites are in several different categories. Ideally, by the end, you will have one favorite for each category or video. As you go through the choices, I encourage you to choose one from each 10-item list. By the end, you'll have about 10 what I call preferences from which you can pick your number one favorite. You can always hang on to the preferences for your own reference. With each video, I will ask you to start collecting your favorites in one place. We will use them in the next section concerning passion. I'll generally go from the earliest in time up to the present. I will do my best to include the most well-known representatives for each category. But I'm not perfect, far from it. There will invariably be people I forget, intentionally leave out, or simply not be aware of. You are welcome to include any that I left out in the comments, but please be nice. For today's category, there are 100 male singers from the 1950s on up to the present. I tried to focus exclusively on solo male artists here and do a separate video on duos, trios, and bands at a later time. There are a few exceptions to this rule, mainly due to my own oversight, such as Freddie Mercury, Daryl Hall, and John Oates not having their own individual careers on their own. Same with Bono and Chris Martin, but they're here anyway. A note on popularity. There'll be times when you know one option is really popular, like superstar status, but they still may not be your favorite. I would encourage you to focus less on the superstars and more on the ones that feel special to you. That's what we're looking for. There are so many awesome male singers out there, but do you know who your favorite is? In this video, we'll try and find out. We'll look at a number of popular male vocalists from the 1950s right on up to today. Let's get to it. Hello, I'm Brian, and welcome to Purpose Posts. Have you ever wondered what your favorite hobby is? Or automobile? Or vacation destination? On this channel, we'll discover these and so much more. As I read through each list of 10, try and choose one. By the end of the video, you'll have a handful of options from which to choose your number one favorite. Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Ray Charles, Ricky Nelson, Bobby Darin, Roy Orbison, Frank Sinatra, Johnny Cash, Bing Crosby, and Dean Martin. These are obviously from the 1950s into the 1960s, and I'll work right up till the present. Tony Bennett, Nat King Cole, Louis Armstrong, Harry Belafonte, Buddy Holly, Stevie Wonder, Johnny Rivers, Paul Simon, Art Garfunkel, and Joe Cocker. Again, try to pick one from each of these 10 if you can. Neil Young, Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers, David Bowie, Cat Stevens, James Taylor, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, Van Morrison, and John Coltrane. Miles Davis, Carlos Santana, Bob Marley, Boz Scaggs, Harry Nilsson, Paul McCartney, Elton John, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, and Rod Stewart. If you are getting value from the video, please tap the like button. It really does help a lot. Thanks. Bob Seger, Billy Joel, Jim Croce, Barry White, John Denver, Neil Diamond, Freddie Mercury, Harry Chapin, Jackson Browne, Steve Perry, Prince, Phil Collins, Ozzy Osbourne, Peter Gabriel, Tom Petty, Robert Palmer, Kenny Loggins, George Michael, Christopher Cross, Barry Manilow, Don Henley, Daryl Hall, John Oates, Richard Marx, Glenn Frey, Sting, Bono, Dave Matthews, Seal, Ricky Martin. If you'd like to see other similar videos, please subscribe and tap the notification bell. Thanks. Usher, Michael Bublé, Adam Levine, John Legend, Chris Martin, Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, Keith Urban, Kenny Chesney, or Lenny Kravitz, Jeff Buckley, Michael Bolton, Vince Gill, Brad Paisley, George Strait, Blake Shelton, Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, Pharrell Williams, Bruno Mars, Eminem, Jay-Z, John Mayer, 50 Cent, Chris Brown, James Blunt, Justin Timberlake, Drake, Cardi B, and Kanye West. Nice job. You did it. Out of all the options, what was your #1 favorite? Did I forget any? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, the next one in our favorite series is right here. Hope to see you in the next video.